Hello everybody, my name is Megan Pancoast, or as my friends like to call me Meg, and this is just a short introduction video. So to start off, I graduated from Millersville University in 2015 with my bachelor's in middle level education with a concentration in science. Since graduating, I've worked at a couple different schools, including 6th grade science and social studies at Helen Thaxton Charter School in York. I taught K-12 aquatics at Northern High School in Dillsburg. I taught 6th and 8th grade science at Allen Middle School in the West Shore School District, and I am currently teaching 5th and 6th grade science at Marshall Math Science Academy in the Harrisburg School District. I am in the master's program for assessment, curriculum, and teaching with a concentration in STEM. This is my final class, and I'm finishing in just under 2 years. Thank goodness. So a little bit about me. As you can see from a couple of the top pictures up here, I am a swing dancer. I specifically do Lindy Hop, East Coast, a little bit of West Coast, Charleston, and I enjoy blues dancing as well. I am a really big fan of music. As you can see down here, I'm playing my guitar. That was back when I was an orientation leader at Millersville. But I also play ukulele, mandolin. I have a drum, and when I was in high school, I used to play flute, but I've since passed that on to my sister. On top of playing music, I also enjoy performing. I've been in a couple Lindy Hop performances, and as you can see in these two pictures, I am a fire spinner, so I am practicing with my fire prop in both those pictures. Down here in this picture, that is a picture of me and my friends out in Ohiopyle. I'm very much an adventurer person. I love going whitewater rafting and being outside. And finally, over here, this is our school pet, Remus the bearded dragon. He is dressed as a dinosaur. The kids love him. So a little bit about what I read in this section, and you'll kind of see that a lot of my fears about this action research project come up in the very beginnings of the project. So the first question, Mills and Spencer outlined 4 stages of the action research project. Which of these stages did I feel I would have most difficulty with, and why? So for me, a lot of my fear comes in getting started with something. Looking at it from the background, I am very fearful at how I can even get started in a massive undertaking. And with this being my final course, I am fully aware of how much work it's going to take. So, my stage that I thought I was going to have most difficulty with was identifying areas of focus. So, in all of my teaching, I have so many things that I know I could focus on, but being that I am getting my master's specifically with a STEM concentration, I feel like I should focus on a STEM topic. But because of that, I feel like it's harder to pick a topic. Action research, I think, would be a wonderful process, especially for classroom management and behavioral adaptations that I would like to make to my class. So for identifying areas of focus, specifically identifying issues in classroom practices as it relates to STEM instruction, the self-reflection piece. I self-reflect about everything that I do in the classroom, and so action research should be okay with doing that, but just the idea of having to look deeply at everything that might be a mistake kind of stresses me out. And it also leads with the most open-endedness of any of the different sections. Identifying the problems and identifying the areas where I'm planning on focusing just seems incredibly large. So on page 22, Mills discussed how teachers need to make an action research part of their daily teaching practices. And I personally believe that that's a very good idea because it opens more to a reflective form of teaching where they can look back at what they've done and where they need to move forward to and come up with plans on how to do that. For me, the biggest obstacles that I can see kind of go along with what I feel like will be the most difficult section for me. With the last one is how I'm going to get started, which over here you can see I put some coffee there. because I feel like it's going to take a lot of introspection to figure out where I want to kind of focus this. Also, on top of this, for some people, I think that a big issue would be in the time of day. As teachers, we have a lot of information that comes across to us, from what kind of weird assemblies we have and what classes my kids need to be going to and papers that I need to collect and parent-teacher conference forms that are coming up and that I need to schedule and forms that I need to send home for early dismissals, and it goes on and on and on. That's not even counting the grading that I have to do, the end of the marking period grades, comments, and parent contacts. So where does the action research data analysis actually come in? So that brings me to my final point about the overwhelming amount of data. If you are doing quantitative research, I know that a lot of numbers come across your desk, and there are ways to organize it and make it so that it kind of organizes itself. But with qualitative data, it requires a lot of reading, interpreting, and kind of drawing connections between verbal and written responses to different topics. So just the analysis and the amount of data that you're collecting would be a lot, considering class sizes and everything. And finally, the two stories that I read, I definitely felt that the one that resonated with me more as a teacher was the Julie Nora one, who was the ESL teacher who started out in a large group but ended up being in the group of only 2 people. Mostly because I feel like oftentimes, specifically in my class and with the teachers that I work with pretty frequently, it starts out being that all 8 of us are going to go and collect data and share it with each other, and each of us are going to do our part. But when it comes down to it, it ends up only being like 1 or 2 of us that are collaborating and actively trying to share with each other. So the idea of sharing with other teachers and plotting and planning and implementing this with a large group of teachers and collecting data with a large group of teachers concerns me. Finally, concerns I have, the biggest concern that I have overall is how to tie it to STEM education, because STEM I'm incredibly passionate about, but I don't know how I can take that and really kind of focus it in and come up with an action research that I can conduct in my classroom. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to getting to know each of you in this class.